Captain Jake Morrison walked slowly through the old shipyard on Titan. The cold air made clouds when he breathed out. He looked at the huge ship in front of him. It was very old, maybe from the early days when humans first traveled between planets. But something about how it looked made him think. This ship was different. Dr. Lisa Carter was with him. She studied old things for her job. She held a small device that could tell her about the ship's metal. "Jake, this doesn't make sense," she said. "This ship is over 300 years old, but the metal is not like anything we know today. They found this place by accident. Workers were digging for minerals on Saturn's biggest moon. They found what looked like an old army base under the ground. Inside the base were many ships. The ships looked perfect, like someone just parked them yesterday and walked away. Back on Earth, Admiral Kate Phillips got the message from Titan. She was very excited. Humans had been having a hard time with other space races for many years. The Centauri Empire called humans primitive and stupid. The Krell Confederation barely talked to humans at all. The old Vorthon Assembly treated humans like pets that could do funny tricks. But maybe these old ships could change everything. Lieutenant Ben Hayes was the team's pilot. He knew how to fly ships better than almost anyone. He turned on the first ship's power systems. Everyone was shocked when the ship started working right away. The technology was human, but it was much better than anything they had now. "Ma'am," Ben said to Dr. Carter, "the power readings are impossible. This ship can do things that should not be possible with what we know about science." Jake Morrison felt confused and excited at the same time. He had studied ships his whole life. He knew every type of human ship that was ever built. But these ships were not in any history book he had ever read. The design was human, but it was also completely new to him. Dr. Carter walked around the ship with her scanner. Every reading she got made her more confused. "Jake, look at this," she said. "The metal has elements that we have never seen before. The power core uses technology that we don't understand. How did humans build this 300 years ago?" As they went deeper into the underground base, they found more ships. Some were small and fast, others were huge like flying cities. All of them were in perfect condition. All of them had technology that was far ahead of what humans could build today. Lieutenant Hayes found the main computer of the base. When he turned it on, words appeared on the screen in Old English. "Warning, emergency protocols active. Ships sealed until activation codes received. Wait for the right time." Dr. Carter studied the computer files. She found records left by humans who lived long ago. These records told a strange story. Hundreds of years ago, some humans had built these advanced ships. Then they had hidden them and erased all records of their work. They knew something was coming, Dr. Carter said as she read the old files. These ships were not built just to explore space. They were built for war, and the people who built them thought the war would not start for hundreds of years. Jake Morrison found the ship's weapon systems. They were unlike anything in the current human fleet. The weapons could destroy targets from very far away. They used power sources that modern humans could not build. Lisa, whoever built these ships, was planning to fight someone very dangerous. Admiral Phillips received more reports from the team on Titan. Each report was more amazing than the last. These ships could travel faster than any current human ship. They had armor that could stop weapons that would destroy normal ships. They had computers that could think and make decisions like humans. Ben Hayes tried to start one of the smaller ships. The engines came to life with a sound like singing. The ship lifted off the ground smoothly and quietly. When he tried the faster-than-light drive, the ship moved through space faster than any human ship had ever moved before. Dr. Carter found the most important file in the computer. It was a message from the people who built the ships. The message said, "To our children's children, we have seen what is coming. We built these ships to save humanity and all life in the galaxy. Use them wisely when the time comes. The enemy is older than stars and hungrier than death. Only together can we stop them." Jake Morrison read the message 3 times. Each time he felt more worried. "Lisa, what kind of enemy were they talking about? And how did they know it was coming hundreds of years before it arrived?" The team spent weeks exploring the base. They found maps of the galaxy with routes marked in red. They found weapon designs that used science they did not understand. They found training programs for fighting an enemy that had no name but was described as the Devourers of Worlds. Admiral Phillips made a decision. She ordered the discovery to be kept secret. Only the most trusted people in the human military would know about the ships. They would study them and learn to use them. When the time came, humanity would be ready for whatever was coming. Dr. Carter found one last message in the deepest part of the computer system. It said, "The ships will awaken when the enemy arrives. Trust the technology. Trust each other. Save the galaxy." Jake Morrison stood in front of the first ship they had found. Soon, human crews would learn to fly these amazing machines. Soon, they would discover what their ancestors had known long ago. Humanity was not alone in the universe, and not everything out there was friendly. 3 months passed after finding the ships on Titan. Captain Jake Morrison now commanded the biggest ship they had fixed. They called it the UHS Defiance. The old ship could do amazing things that surprised even the best space crews. Modern, human ships could only travel faster than light for a few days before they needed to rest. But the Defiance could keep going for months without stopping. Its weapons got power straight from the ship's main engine. This made them as strong as the biggest alien warships. The first real test came when bad aliens attacked a human mining colony. These aliens were called the Zentari. They had been getting bolder lately because they knew human ships were weak compared to their technology. Commander Amy Foster got the emergency call just as 3 big Zentari warships started attacking the colony. The people at the colony were very scared. They sent messages asking for help. "Please, anyone who can hear this," the colony leader said over the radio. 3 Zentari cruisers are attacking us. Our shields won't last much longer. We need help now. Chief Engineer Paul Davis looked worried as he read the reports. "Sir," he said to Captain Morrison, "normal thinking says we should call for backup and wait. Those Zentari cruisers are much stronger than anything in our regular fleet. One of those ships could destroy 10 of our normal ships." Morrison looked at his crew and smiled in a way that was not happy but determined. "Good thing we're not flying anything from our regular fleet," he said. "All crew members, get ready for battle." The Defiance came out of faster-than-light travel right between the attacking ships and the colony. The Zentari commanders saw the human ship appear and started laughing. They thought it was just another weak human ship they could destroy easily. They had destroyed many human ships before without any trouble. "Another human ship?" the Zentari commander said to his crew. "This will be over in minutes. Charge the main weapons. Let's finish this quickly." But the Zentari were in for a big surprise. When the Defiance fired its first shots, the energy beams went through the lead Zentari cruiser's shields like they were made of paper. The shields that usually protected Zentari ships from all human weapons just disappeared when hit by the Defiance's guns. The Zentari commander could not believe what he was seeing. "What? How is this possible? No human ship has weapons this strong," he shouted. But it was too late. The Defiance's second shot hit his ship's main engine and it exploded. In just 20 minutes, 2 of the 3 Zentari cruisers were completely destroyed. The third one was badly damaged and flying away as fast as it could. The Zentari captain sent a message to his bosses saying that humans now had ships with impossible technology. Word about the fight spread very quickly through the galaxy's communication systems. All the alien races heard about it. The Zentari High Command was very angry and confused. They demanded to know how humans had suddenly gotten such advanced technology. For years, they had treated humans like children who could barely build working spaceships. Back on Earth, Admiral Kate Phillips put together a secret team of the smartest scientists and engineers that humans had. Dr. Elena Rodriguez was a scientist who studied space and time. She looked at how the old ship's engines worked and found something that shocked her. "These engines don't just bend space and time like our ships do," Dr. Rodriguez explained to the team. "They actually pull energy from tiers in space itself. The technology is hundreds of years ahead of anything that any known race in the galaxy has. I don't understand how it works, but it works perfectly." Colonel Steve Baker was an expert in military planning and fighting. He studied all the information from the fight with the Zentari ships. What he learned made him very excited. "Ma'am," he told Admiral Phillips, These ships don't just match alien technology, they are much better than alien technology. If we can fix enough of these old ships, we could change who has power in the whole galaxy. More teams of humans went back to Titan to study the other ships in the hidden base. Each ship they looked at was more amazing than the last. Some were built for fighting, others were built for carrying things or fixing other ships. All of them used technology that modern humans did not understand, but somehow worked perfectly. Dr. Lisa Carter kept studying the old computer files. She found training programs that taught people how to use the ships. The programs were made by the humans who built the ships long ago. They had left detailed instructions for their descendants about how to fly the ships and use their weapons. It's like they knew exactly what we would need to know, Dr. Carter told the team. Every question we have, they already answered in these files. They planned everything perfectly. Lieutenant Ben Hayes learned to fly one of the smaller old ships. It was faster and easier to control than any modern ship he had ever flown. "This ship thinks ahead of me," he told his friends. "It knows what I want to do before I do it. Flying, this is like dancing with a partner who knows all the moves." The success against the Zentari made Admiral Phillips realize something important. Humans now had the technology to stand up to any alien race in the galaxy. For the first time in human history, they were not the weakest species in space. But she also knew this was just the beginning. The old humans had built these ships for a reason, and that reason was still coming. As more old ships started working again, humans began to understand the truth about their mysterious ancestors. The ancient humans had not just built advanced ships, they had discovered something that forced them to hide from the galaxy. Dr. Lisa Carter's team found the main computer system on a hidden space station beyond Pluto. The station was so far from the sun that it was completely dark and cold. But when they turned on its power, the computers came to life and told an amazing story. The records showed that 300 years ago, humans had made contact with a very old race of beings. These beings were called the Architects. They had been alive for millions of years and had seen many terrible things happen in space. The Architects warned the humans about a great war that was coming to the galaxy. The Architects told our ancestors about an enemy from outside our galaxy, Dr. Carter explained to all the ship commanders who had gathered to hear the news. This enemy had already destroyed many other galaxies. They were coming to destroy ours next. The ancient humans had been given a choice by the Architects. They could try to fight the enemy right away and die with everyone else. Or they could hide their advanced technology and wait for the right time to use it. The ancient humans chose to hide. Captain Jake Morrison studied the old star maps that the ancestors had left behind. The maps showed the path that the enemy was taking through space. "According to this," he said, "the invasion force is already on its way here. The enemy calls themselves the Devourers. They have been eating entire galaxies for millions of years. Ancient humans had made a great sacrifice. They had erased all records of their advanced technology. They had hidden their best ships throughout the solar system. They had even changed the history books so that future humans would not know what they had done." Admiral Kate Phillips looked at the evidence with growing understanding. They knew that if the galaxy found out about human technology too early, the other races would try to take it. But they also knew that when the real enemy arrived, humanity would need these ships to save everyone. The Architects had not just warned humans about the Devourers. They had also given humans special technology that could fight against them. This technology was built into every old ship that the ancestors had hidden. Commander Amy Foster asked the question that everyone was thinking. If this enemy is so dangerous, should we warn the other races? The Zentari, the Krell, even the Vorthan Assembly need to know what's coming. Dr. Elena Rodriguez had been studying the architect technology that was built into the ships. What she found was incredible. The ships are designed to work together like one giant mind, she said. The more ships we activate, the stronger each ship becomes. Our ancestors built the perfect fleet for fighting a war across the entire galaxy. But there was more. The Architects had not just given the technology to humans by accident. They had studied all the races in the galaxy and chosen humans for a special reason. Humans were the only race that had the right combination of creativity, stubbornness, and teamwork needed to use the technology properly. Dr. Carter found records that explained everything. The architects tried giving their technology to other races before, she read from the ancient files. But the other races either used it to fight each other, or they became too dependent on it and forgot how to think for themselves. Only humans had the balance of traits needed to be the galaxy's protectors. The old files also contained detailed information about the Devourers. They were not like any normal race. They did not want to conquer planets or steal resources. They wanted to eat everything. They consumed stars, planets, and all life. They turned entire solar systems into energy to feed their endless hunger. Captain Morrison realized the terrible truth. The proud alien empires that have been treating us like children are about to face an enemy that can destroy them all, and we're the only ones who can stop it. The architects had left one final gift for humanity. Hidden in the deepest part of the space station's computer was a complete battle plan for fighting the Devourers. The plan showed exactly how to use the old ships to defeat an enemy that had never been beaten before. Lieutenant Ben Hayes studied the battle tactics that the architects had developed. These strategies use the ship's ability to work together, he said. When the ships fight as one unit, they become something that even the Devourers cannot handle. Admiral Phillips made a difficult decision. She sent messages to all the major alien races, warning them about the coming invasion. She told them about the Devourers and offered to show them the evidence. Most of the aliens did not believe her. The Zentari Empire said it was a human trick to gain political power. The Krell Confederation accused Earth of making up the threat to justify their new weapons. The ancient Vorthan Assembly simply ignored the warnings completely. Dr. Carter found the final piece of the puzzle in the architect records. The Devourers were not just randomly destroying galaxies. They were following a pattern, eating galaxies in a specific order. According to the timeline, they would arrive at the edge of the Milky Way galaxy very soon. We have maybe 6 months before the first Devourer scouts arrive, Dr. Carter told the human leaders. After that, we'll have maybe a year before their main fleet gets here. The humans worked frantically to restore more of the old ships. Each ship they activated made the entire fleet stronger. The architect technology allowed the ships to share power, information, and even decision-making across the entire fleet. Captain Morrison stood on the bridge of the UHS Defiance and looked out at the growing fleet of ancient ships. Soon these vessels would face the greatest threat the galaxy had ever known. The alien races that had dismissed humanity for so long would learn that sometimes the youngest species could be the strongest. The ancestors had prepared well. They had given their descendants everything needed to save not just humanity, but all life in the galaxy. Now it was time to prove that humans deserved the trust that the architects had placed in them so long ago. The other alien races in the galaxy did not believe humanity's warnings about the Devourers. The Zentari Empire said it was a human lie to get more political power. The Krell Confederation accused Earth of making up the threat to justify their new strong weapons. The ancient Vorthan Assembly simply pretended they never heard the warnings at all. Everything changed when the first Devourer scout ships arrived. At the edge of the galaxy, the enemy ships were massive and looked like they were alive rather than built. They seemed to eat energy and matter from everything they touched. The ships had no clear weapons, but they could somehow absorb other ships into their hulls. A Zentari battle fleet tried to fight them and was completely consumed in just a few hours. The Zentari ships and all their crews were literally eaten by the alien vessels. Fear spread through the galaxy very quickly as more reports came in. Entire star systems were going dark. Their populations and resources were feeding the advancing enemy army. The proud alien empires that had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years suddenly found themselves helpless against an enemy they could not understand. Captain Jake Morrison received the first official request for help from Zentari High Command. The same aliens who had called humans primitive and stupid were now begging for help. They offered to pay humans anything if they would protect Zentari worlds from the Devourers. Similar desperate messages arrived from the Krell and the Vorthans. Within a few days, the alien leaders who had ignored human warnings were now panicking as their fleets were destroyed one by one. Admiral Kate Phillips brought together all the human fleet commanders aboard the UHS Defiance. Over 50 of the ancient ships had been restored and were working perfectly. Each ship was crewed by humanity's best and bravest people. "Ladies and gentlemen," Admiral Phillips said to the gathered commanders, "our ancestors prepared us for this exact moment. The question now is, what do we ask for in return for our help?" The negotiations with the alien races were quick and decisive. Humanity offered their protection in exchange for complete equality in the galactic community. The alien empires would have to treat humans as equals, not as inferior beings. They would have to give humans a voice in all major galactic decisions. The alien races facing complete extinction had no choice but to agree to terms they would have laughed at just months earlier. The same beings who had treated humans like children now had to accept them as equals and leaders. The first major battle came at the Kepler star system, an important location that controlled several major space routes. Commander Amy Foster led a combined fleet of 30 human ships against a devourer army that had 3 times as many ships. The ancient human technology proved its worth in the battle. The weapons that the architects had given to humanity cut through devourer hulls that had easily survived the aliens' best attacks. The enemy ships that had seemed invincible suddenly started exploding when hit by human weapons. The ship's network systems allowed perfect coordination between all human vessels. The 30 human ships fought like they were one single, giant weapon. Each ship knew exactly what the others were doing and could respond instantly to any situation. Chief Engineer Paul Davis reported from the Defiance's bridge as the battle continued. "Sir, something amazing is happening. The ship is actually getting stronger as we fight. Each enemy vessel we destroy seems to feed power back into our systems. The Devourers had been conquering galaxies for millions of years. They had never met effective resistance before. But now they encountered something they had never seen. Weapons and tactics specifically designed to counter everything they could do." Captain Morrison realized that their ancestors and the architects had thought of everything. "They didn't just give us advanced ships," he said. "They gave us the perfect weapons for fighting this specific enemy." The Devourers tried to adapt their tactics when they saw that their usual methods were not working. But humanity's ancestors had expected this, too. The ships contained battle strategies and weapon settings specifically designed to counter every possible Devourer tactic. Within 6 months, the tide of war had completely turned. Human-led fleets pushed the invaders back, system by system. They freed enslaved populations and destroyed the organic ships that had seemed impossible to beat. The same aliens who had once treated humans as inferior beings now looked to them as saviors and natural leaders. Dr. Lisa Carter made the final discovery in the deepest computer files of the ancient space station. The architects had not just warned humanity about the Devourers. They had chosen humans specifically to inherit their technology and protect the galaxy. "Of all the species in the galaxy," Dr. Carter read from the ancient files, "only humanity possesses the right combination of adaptability, determination, and strategic thinking necessary to use our technology effectively." The final battle of the war came at the center of the galaxy, where the Devourer hive mind had built its main base. Admiral Phillips led the assault personally, commanding a fleet of over 100 restored human vessels. The battle lasted 3 days and 3 nights, but when it ended, the ancient enemy was broken and scattered. The surviving Devourers fled back to the empty space between galaxies. They would not return for millions of years, if ever. The galaxy was safe, and everyone knew who had saved it. In the aftermath of the war, the galaxy had to accept a new reality. Humanity, once dismissed and ignored, now commanded the most powerful fleet in known space. The alien empires that had survived, the war owed their very existence to human protection and leadership. The other races had no choice but to accept human dominance. Treaties were signed that gave humans control over galactic defense and major trade routes. Human colonies were established in the best systems throughout the galaxy. Earth became the new capital of galactic civilization. Captain Morrison stood on the bridge of the UHS Defiance as it patrolled the outer edge of the galaxy, watching for any sign of the Devourer's return. Behind him, the greatest fleet in galactic history spread across the stars. Each ship was crewed by humans who had inherited their ancestors' burden and triumph. The species that had once struggled just to be noticed now stood as the undisputed guardians of the galaxy. Their ancient ships served as proof that sometimes the greatest victories come from the wisdom and sacrifice of those who came before. Humanity had risen from being the weakest race in space to being its ultimate protectors and rulers.